Hey everyone.
Hey.
Okay, so Shirlee and I are here today. This is one of my really good friends, former client, just amazing overall person. And I'm super excited to have this conversation with Shirlee today. But what we're doing, just to explain to everyone who's listening, is we're being really smart with our time. And we both have podcasts. I have the How It's Really Going with Shana Recker podcast. And Shirlee, what's your podcast?
Becoming You.
Becoming You. And so we are having a conversation today, and we're sharing this conversation on both of our podcasts. So to the How It's Really Going listeners and to the Becoming You listeners, hello from me, Shana, and take it away, Shirlee.
And hello for me. You were my first business coach. You literally was the first person that I hired to build my website, coach me. I joined your first ever group coaching. What was it called?
Well, there was the Dream Hustle Academy.
Right.
Yeah, there, and then we did the VIP Insiders and all that stuff.
That's right. And so you have inspired me to really be here today. So I need to thank you for that. I absolutely adore you.
Oh, same girl, same. I just remember you coming to me being like, I have a yoga studio. I want to be I want to be online and less in the studio, and I was just like, all right, let's do it. And we had a lot of fun building your brand and helping you now you are literally global as we are talking. Where are you right now?
I'm in Mexico right now. This is my second winter away. Everything I do is primarily online.
Yes.
Although in the last little while, I have been missing in person. I've started to relaunch retreats again, international retreats. Mexico next month, sold out retreat in Puerto Vallarta. So it's all coming together now. And this vision that I had for quarterly retreats, online programming, one-on-one coaching, it's like everything's just been pulled together. It's just amazing. It's so amazing.
Awesome. I love it. Well, and I think this is a good place for us to start because, our audiences are kind of similar in the sense that they are, I know for me, primarily women who are just looking to create a better life for themselves, whether for me, it's more in the online business and entrepreneurial space. I'm sure for you, it's kind of in different areas. But let's talk about this whole space of, really making this leap to becoming entrepreneurs and being in the online space, because that's kind of where we started. So first of all, I'd love to hear your story, just to hear about how you, sort of made this transition, but then also what are some of the things that you feel have changed since starting your business? Because I, as you guys know, I've been doing deep dive into a lot of different things in the online coaching space, and there are a lot of changes that are happening. So let's start there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was COVID, and I had a bricks and mortar business for 14 years, yoga and spin studio, and I had been running yoga teacher training programs, and everything shut down. The business shut down. Truth be told, I was already looking for an exit strategy. I just didn't know what that really looked like. I wasn't clear about that, but I knew that I was ready to travel. My children are older. My dream for the last 10 years has been to be away over the winter from Canada and the cold and all of that. And so I really was in a place of, okay, what next? I've always been, it's not this or that for me. It's always been like, okay, what next? And I think because I asked that question, I really feel blessed that I have lived my true passion in doing what I do and having these platforms, but I also knew there was something more. And so it has literally been, and what now? And what now? And what now? And there has been so much growth and evolution and so much pivoting and shifting, and you think you're going one way and you're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go this way now, and it's like, okay,
welcome to my world.
right. And one of the things that I feel like I've been so blessed is that I've had you leading the way, because you have given me, and I mean this, and I'm probably gonna cry, we're like a few minutes into this conversation, but you have given me, and I don't know why, but I feel like you have given me permission to continually ask the questions, shift my direction, change what I'm doing. And, someone asked me a little while ago, like, another offering. And I'm like, it's just the next offering. It's not another offering. It's like, as I grow and evolve, so are what I'm going to be offering.
Yeah.
You know, like, have you found that? Because you have shifted. I mean, we talk about
Yeah.
like this first program that you launched, and I think
Yeah.
there was like 6 of us in the program, and my partner came and joined me, and we were
That was
all just like doing it together,
That was, yeah.
right?
And I think that's so, it's funny. Okay, I have a million thoughts going right now, but we're like, because one of the things that I do as a very, very part-time gig, and this will come back and tie into in a second, is I create art as a part-time thing, and I create digital art, and I put it on t-shirts and different things like that. It's part of sort of my art business. And this morning, literally just this morning, Shirley, I was creating t-shirts, and I have butterflies on them, and it says underneath, "You're supposed to change." And I was literally creating these this morning. I will show them to you after. And you're supposed to change. And then I've got a couple of them. It's all about change. But that's because that's what we are supposed to do. Like, I connect to that because I'm not the same person I was, when I did that very first program with you. I've learned things, we've grown, our awareness changes. And when we have these new awarenesses and we have these new experiences, the things that we desire, the things that we want to do, or our passions or whatever, things change, right? And that's what we are supposed to do. To me, I think it's to stay the same and do the same thing over and over and over again every day. I mean, if that's your jam, fine. But for me, that just doesn't work. I am always evolving. I'm always changing. And that's the way that I like it. But, so.
And I agree, it's not for everyone. Some people love to live in the realm of predictability, and that's really great. I mean, I often have this conversation with my partner about, could you imagine just being that person, like just super happy, doing nothing all day, going to work 9 to 5, and I get it. I really get it, because I feel like the space that we play in and live in can be hard. Like, what inspires you every day?
Yeah. And I think that's what inspires me is just sometimes it's seeing what other people are doing. Sometimes that also is hard for me. Social media is one of those playgrounds where, sure, there's a lot of great things that can come from it, but there's also a lot of negative things that can come from it. I think what inspires me now is, I used to be somebody who did things because I was trying to be someone. I wanted to have the income. I wanted to have the status. I wanted to show people I was successful. I used to do things and be driven by trying to prove myself. And I think in the last year, and, you and I have had conversations about this. I don't know if it's perimenopause. I don't know what it is, if it's just me getting older or what, but those things just don't have the importance to me anymore. And peace of mind and feeling just happy doing whatever it is I'm doing, whether I'm getting paid $20 an hour or $500 an hour. Like it's about how I'm feeling about my life and what I'm doing, more so than it is to try and be something to the external world. And I think that's what motivates me more now. It's like, does this bring me joy? Does this make me feel good? That's why I started the art business in the first place, was because I was so burnt out from constantly pushing business and doing the business stuff that I was like, I need something for me. And that's when the art thing started. And that's when I started realizing, wait, this is what fulfillment feels like, because I'm not making any money from it. I'm not like, you know what I mean? But when I'm in it, I'm just in it. I'm enjoying it. The music's playing, the colors are moving around. I'm really in it. And that's helped me realize, like, whoa, wait a minute. This is what peace of mind feels like. This is what fulfillment and joy feels like. What am I doing over here? Wait, I need to reassess this. Right. And so introduce the next pivot. You know what I mean? Because that's my awareness of what's important has changed, if that makes sense.
Oh my God. Yeah. And as you were saying, this is so beautiful. And all I keep thinking now is the butterfly, and you're supposed to change. And I have something I want to ask you after, but, one of the things I was thinking as you were sharing all of that is, I so resonate with that, because there's some things that I put out in the world where it's not about the financial. It's not about anything really, other than this brings me so much joy that I want to just share it, and I think the coaching industry has done us a disservice.
Yes.
because we're watching and we're like, if I do everything, so we're not questioning, we're like, if I do everything that this person is doing, then I'm also going to have that, that I'm also going to have that purse, those shoes, that bag, that, like, and we're not asking ourselves, my God, is this even making me happy?
Right.
Like, and we've both been through we've both been through coaches, and we've both been through programs where we're like, go, 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 but not like, hey, hang on a sec. What is this doing for me? I launched a program a little while ago, and it doesn't have a lot of participants, but it is bringing me such joy every single morning. And someone asked me like, well, how much money are you making? And I was like, I actually don't even know. I gave some people the program for free, and they're like, really? And I'm like, it's not what it's about. But somehow we've been told that it's somehow tied to that. And I know that you've been on this huge exploration of questioning everything.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Thank you for doing the pre-work.
Well, and that's because I have, I feel like as an online coach and business owner who I feel has been somewhat successful when I look at the numbers, but when I look at my business, I don't feel successful because I'm not making the numbers that all of the coaching industry boasts as being successful. Like I did a podcast on this whole making $1 million, 7-figure level of success that I feel is really pushed in, especially in the coaching industry, like this 100K months. And you see these coaches talking about it. And so what happens is coaches like ourselves who just really enjoy what we're doing, who maybe aren't making, we're making what we're making. And maybe it's not 7 figures, maybe it's not even 6 figures, but we're really happy doing what we're doing. And all of a sudden now we're questioning our success because we see this other stuff and we think, oh, well, that's what I should have. So I'm going to hire this coach so I can learn how to do this so I can have that success.
Right.
And the other flip side to that too is that as a business coach, I'm finding it difficult to even be seen and heard because I'm really good at what I do. I'm just going to say it. I'm really good at what I do. I love what I do and I love helping people, but I feel like it's harder to be heard out there because the flashy, shiny coaches are boasting these numbers. They might be great marketers, but are they actually really good at what they do? And so like, there's this, it's like a space that's kind of been created in this coaching industry that it's like, you're not valid unless you're making this amount of money. And here's the thing. And we know this because this is part of some of the things I've taught in the mindset space is you can make $100,000 a month, but I guarantee you when you make that amount of money, you're not going to be happy. You're going to want 200 or you're going to want 300. It's never enough. And so that's where, again, we come back to the whole fulfillment thing is like the real fulfillment comes from inside. It comes from you doing work you love, whether there's one person in that program or 10 people in that program. Like that's where actual fulfillment comes from, not from the dollars. So it's like, how do we get the industry back to a place of just like loving what you're doing and supporting people in that way? And who cares about the numbers? Like the numbers don't matter. I
think that, you asked that question and I don't actually know that answer, but what I am realizing, I just need to do what I do. I just need to do what I do and show up the way I show up and be consistent in what I want to share, and the people that need us will find us. And I'm realizing that more and more. And I think for me, part of the problem is I'm always looking at the other side. I know that part of my own work is to stop looking at the other side. Let me just check what this person's doing. Let me just check what this person. What brings me full fulfillment is when I just do what I do. And I keep saying, my message is simple. It's not a simple message, but my message is I'm going to live in my most authentic playground in all my vulnerability. And I'm going to do what I do, and I'm going to share it as honestly as I can so that other women know what's possible.
Yeah, I love that. And that's, I think that's what's gotten lost, I think, and especially in the entrepreneurship space, it becomes about this race and this hustle to get to this certain place so that you can prove that you're actually, and it's like, that for me anyways, just led me to burnout, like where I didn't even want to show up on social media at all. I didn't even want to do anything. And that's not who I am. I do love to, so it's like, yeah, I think that when we can stay in our own lane and we can really just focus on what lights us up and what feels good and not worry about what everybody else is fucking thinking about what we're doing,
Right.
that's where things will start to click. And sure, maybe it's a slower road to get, to the goals, let's say, that you have for yourself and your life and your business. But I guarantee you that you'll be happier in the getting there than if you try and force it to get to some place and be, where you think the happiness is, and then you get there and it's not there,
Right.
So,
Right. And then I often think there's nowhere to get.
yeah.
Where you go, like there's nowhere to get. Where are you actually going?
Yeah.
Like I had a conversation with someone and she said to me, what if this is enough?
Yeah.
Like, what if my business is enough? What if I said, when you get out of bed in the morning, are you excited to go do the things that you're going to do for the day?
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, yeah. And I was like, and when you get home at the end of the day and you connect to your family, does that fill your heart? And
Mm-hmm.
she's like, yeah. And I'm like, and when on the weekends, when your business is shut down and you have Saturday and Sunday all day to do whatever it is that you want to do, are you happy? She's like, yes. I'm like, is there anything that you feel like is missing? And she's like, no.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, but if I go bigger, then I can have more. I'm like, more of what? Where are you going?
Yeah. And you can't take the stuff with you, as my brother-in-law passed away suddenly in February at the age of 51, and it was not something that anybody, like, we were in shock. And, Ken he lived a really good life. My sister and him traveled, they did lots of stuff. And my sister said, she's like, I feel like okay, because we, like, she's obviously sad and upset, but she was like, I feel like we lived our fullest. We did the things that we love to do. They didn't have kids or anything like that, but they, they loved whatever. Ken, he lived a full life, but they didn't have tons of money. They didn't have fancy cars. My sister doesn't have purses and handbags and shoes and all the things. And you know what I mean? Like, it really put into perspective for me what's actually important. And anything that she did have, she would give up instantly just to have him back, and it just really started to shift for me, like even more so my perspective of, what is enough for me and what does feel good for me and what do I actually really want to be doing with my life, and not be always in the future trying to think about, how I can create more and more and more, I don't know. I get on my soapbox about this.
But it's such an important conversation, because whether your listeners are listening from a business perspective or my ladies are listening from a like a life perspective, it's the same message.
Yeah.
How much is enough? Like, what do we actually need? And I think part of it is probably wisdom of getting older and experiences like the loss of your brother-in-law, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we hear those stories all the time and we think like, that's not going to happen to me. Like, but how much is enough? And then what's really important, we're living in Mexico and there's been so many life moments around being here and away for as long as this is the longest we've been away. And I'm really missing home and I'm missing my house. And I am actually missing a change of season, which is interesting because I was like, doesn't matter. I know I could live in this heat all the time. And now I'm like, I just need the air conditioning. I'd love to see the flowers coming out of the snow, the crocuses in my neighbor's yard. That happens like, I am missing things. Yeah. And you only know that once you had an experience of something different. So, and we talked about this before we hit record, like neither one of us would be here having these conversations if we didn't experience the other side. If we didn't experience like, oh, I know what being able to buy that expensive handbag felt like, and now it doesn't feel like that anymore. Like, now I've changed again, like I get it. I get like, how much do we really need and want? So where are you now? Like, because I'm loving the art. I'm loving everything, by the way. I'm like, I want to come when I get home. I want to come to the studio and create something.
Absolutely. We'd love to have you at the studio. And actually we have a couple of art shows coming up in the spring that we're just waiting for some final details on. But Yeah, I'm just, you know what, for me, I'm in this space where I do really love helping, the new online entrepreneurs who are coming into the space, much like, our relationship started, because I have this way of being able to like hear your desire for what you want to create online and understand how to, one, technically put it together, and two, like like this, the problem solving, the creative problem solving with that I do with my clients really does fire me up. It lights up my soul. It's like trying to get in there and go, okay, what do we want to build? How do you want to make this work? Like, what do you want to do? And then figuring out all the pieces. So that's something that I will always do, but I have actually, instead of doing it through like high ticket group coaching programs, like I used to do, and, 12 and, 6-month contracts or 12-week contracts or 6-month contracts and all those things, I've actually really had this desire to just simplify my business and also create a space that allows all income levels to be able to learn what they need to learn to start an online business. Because this is the other thing I've seen in the coaching space, and I know you've probably seen this too, where you can't get online coaching support unless you're paying 5 figures to be a part of something, and not everybody has that money. And even those who use the payment plans, and I am told this has totally happened to me, where I've committed to a payment plan and a few months into that payment plan can't afford the big payment that month. And like, I don't ever want people to feel what I've felt in those situations. One, just investing, like I look back at how much I've invested in online coaching, and it's actually kind of scary. It's been 6 figures of income that I've put into learning, which I don't regret any of it. Like, it's all taught me something, some good, some not so great, but it's all taught me how to be better, and some things what not to do. But it's helped me really pivot my business into a way to keep it super simple and keep it super flexible, not only for myself, but also for my clients. So I created a membership. It's a business coaching membership. It's under $100 a month. They have access to a curriculum, but then they still have access to me as the coach to ask questions and get support. I really wanted it to be a space where people could come in and learn for as long as they wanted to learn. And when they're done, they can cancel their subscription. There's no questions asked. They don't have to ask me to cancel it for them. They can go online and do it themselves and be done. Like I wanted that flexible space. And so I'm doing that because I still do love doing the business coaching and helping people. And so those are kind of my 2 focuses right now, is just really doing the things that I love, but splitting it into, like, the art is kind of become a business, which has been fun too, but it's not as like, it's just there. I'm just doing it, and I'm letting it be what it's going to be. And then the business coaching, I'm still kind of, I'm just kind of pivoting that around a little bit and making it more, just trying something different, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I love that. I love the simplicity of it. And, if we use the business coaching idea of simplicity and we move it into life,
yes,
I think this simpler, like I'm teaching morning habits and rituals and daily practices to keep people engaged in their life. So they're living a little bit more consciously. I'm moving to some more in-person things. I'm doing a local retreat in July in Ontario, in a spectacular environment with my co-host that I host retreats with now, which has been amazing. And I'm all about collaboration these days. And that's to me simplifying things a little bit more, right? Like, we don't need to do this alone. We can invite other teachers and coaches to do things with us without feeling competitive. There's enough for everybody. I've been living in a space of abundance and not looking, and like you, I agree, everything to this point has been valuable lessons and feedback. And I don't regret anything. I can think of where that money might have been spent better, but it's done, right? And been valuable, and I've learned so much about myself. And even just having this conversation today, coming out of a 4-day online program with a high ticket coach, realizing again, like, it's like sometimes I can speak to women who get frustrated, like, God, didn't I know this fucking lesson already? Like, how am I repeating
Why
this?
am
And
I
I'm like,
doing
you're going to
it?
repeat it and it's going to be okay. And you're going to receive it in a different way. And even waking up this morning and doing my morning practices and journaling, I could see the gift in the last 4 days.
Yep.
And I just want to like keep shining my light and doing what I do so that other women are like, yeah, I want to do my own thing too. You know, I want to shine my own light and live my own way. And sometimes it's not going to make sense for other people.
Yeah.
And that's actually also okay, you know?
I love that, because you really help women, I guess I would say, discover, you know, maybe who they truly are, or what their, you know, not their purpose. I hate saying what's your purpose, but like,
I know we need new words.
I know it's just because
you need a new word for manifestation.
Yes.
I need a new word for purpose. Because,
Yeah.
you know, people associate, well, I don't have a job. That's my purpose. And I'm like, it doesn't need to be your purpose. Like,
No.
it's also okay if your job is the thing that's going to pay your rent or your mortgage and your bills. You can also find a purpose doing what you love to do. And it could be weird things too. Like, I had a woman who started a hiking group. She's not making money at it, but she's taking all these people out on these beautiful hikes in her area and showing them what's available where they live. Like, it's just amazing, you know? And I think we need to like disassociate purpose and finances and move them away from each other, because there's no
100%.
You know?
Well, and and I am going to say this person's name because I really do love the work that he does, and his name, and I mentioned to you at the beginning of this, is Kyle Cease. And he talks about, he is actually somebody who says like, there's no purpose. Like, what if you just being on this earth is your purpose? You know what I mean? Like, there's no external thing you need to do to find your purpose. You just being is your purpose. Right. And about living in the now, and just like, what if everything is okay? What if you being broke right now is actually okay? What if you having to work a job you don't love is actually okay? What if you could just embrace all of the things that are happening in your world right now, good or bad, and they're all okay. They're all there. They're meant to be there because they are helping you create a new awareness about, you know, like you said, what's next, and not everything in our life has to be perfect in order for us to figure out what's next. You know, it's like, what if everything is just okay as it is right now? And that's like one of the things, like when you said, going back to, you know, pivoting and changing and moving, it's like, it's okay to change and move because you are discovering yourself as you go. Like you're doing things and you're realizing, oh, like when I went down the rabbit hole of ethical marketing and the online coaching space and all that stuff, there was a lot of stuff in that moment I realized I was doing and teaching that was unethical. Right. And so no fault of mine, no shame, no stories. It was just how I was taught. It was what I was teaching. And I could have gone down and went like, oh my gosh, you know, why did I do this? And like, you know, whatever. And instead it was just like, it's okay. I know better now. So I removed the things that needed to be removed. I had many conversations with my clients. Everything got cleaned up and everything's feeling good now. And I just made a new decision and just kind of kept moving, right? Like, it's like, there's no right or wrong way. There's no, like, you know, that's why I say when people are trying to find their purpose, it's like, there's something wrong with now. So I need to go find this thing so I will be better. It's like, no, what if you're actually perfect right now? Like, what if you're actually perfect right now?
You lady are teaching the greatest yogic teaching right now. In the yoga philosophy that I teach, it's, first of all, everything is connected. We're all a tapestry. Every single thing is connected. And the problem is we're living in a disconnected world.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And so the greatest teaching is that, and this might not be everyone's belief, but this is definitely my belief. And it sounds like, and I can't wait to dive into him more. Kyle
Cease.
Yeah, we're gonna put the link in the show notes too. But everything is connected, and at the one, you can call it spirit, you can call it the universe,
God, whatever.
You can call it God, whatever you want to call it. Susan, Karen, Joe, I don't care.
Maybe not Karen.
Okay, maybe not. Karen has a bad rap, but at its one, it is it's universe, it's one. And in order for the universe to experience fully, it needs to create each and every one of us, right? We talk about being in our human experience. We're all spiritual beings being in a human experience. The universe is one. And so at its oneness, it has nothing to experience because it's just is. It's just the now. And out of that, each and every single one of us is created. And if you believe that, then how could we be a mistake?
Yeah.
Like, how could this be a mistake? How could all of our experiences, all of our heartache, everything we're in is so that everything can be experienced in this big realm of humanness, let's say. Nothing is a mistake.
Nothing is wrong. Nothing is wrong.
And nothing is broken. Like, we're told at a very young age that, like, I just made a podcast episode about, like, I had this like whole crying experience that got videotaped. It was like, I wanted to share something else and I started crying and I was going to delete it. And I ended up sharing it. And there was 2 schools of people who reached out. One was, oh my God, that was so beautiful. Thank you. And the other was, oh my God, what's wrong? And I'm like, there's nothing wrong. I get
Society
to cry
has
and I get to
us that,
right.
We have been conditioned to believe, that there are things wrong and we have to be fixed. And, it's such a deep conversation. And I agree. But here's the thing, when you just accept who you are and what is happening in your world and everything is okay. And you can live in, as Kyle would say, is live in the now, be in this moment. That allows that oneness, that energy to work through you. But when we are coming from that ego mind or the small mind, that's the drive to have success, the drive to make the money, the I need more in order to feel fulfilled and satisfied. Then that's why you end up in frustration or resistance and you're never satisfied and fulfilled, because it's not those things that actually bring you that feeling of like you say, that woman who started the hiking thing for no reason and she's not making money. She started for a reason, but she's not making money with it. And she's okay with that because it's like that oneness working through her and she's just enjoying every moment of it. And it's just, she's doing it because she loves it, not to try and get something external from her, because the universe would never work through her in that way. And so it's like when we are, and that's, I think to sort of bring this conversation full circle, it's like, when we are coming into the online entrepreneurial space, we have to be coming at this, or even in life, like just from looking at your life. So from a life coaching or business coaching perspective, we have to be coming at life and at our businesses from a place of, this is what feels good and right for me in this moment, not I need to do this because it's going to create this outcome, and this outcome is going to create my happiness. And I've been caught in that loop of, I need to do these things in order to create the income so that I can have the things so that I can be happy. And what happened is that just created burnout, and it created all kinds of like messed up stuff. And until you get to this place where you're okay with just everything, how it actually is right now, that's like, Kyle, one of the things that Kyle will say, he's like, if you can be on a park bench with nothing and still look around and feel satisfaction for your life, that's when you truly win, because you don't need anything external from you to feel full, to feel whole, sorry, rant,
and but that's good, because then the question that comes up is, if we can stay in the now and truly see in front of us, like, we truly see in front of us what is magnificent in that moment. And that's why people talk so much about gratitude. Like, you can't be resentful and hold gratitude in the same space. You can't be angry and also be grateful. Like, gratitude will take you into that present moment. And it's never resonated with me, like, 5 things you're grateful for, write it down every morning. Like, none of that stuff really actually resonated with me. But what I have trained myself to do is, in the moments that feel broken or sad, not to change it, but to what can I find out of this moment or this experience or this lesson, or,
Mhm.
that is beautiful.
Yeah. Or
That,
can I just accept that? Can I just accept that right now it doesn't feel good and that's okay. And I love that. And I love that because it's creating a new awareness for me. And I think
right.
that's, whether you're in business or you're, maneuvering your life, we have to get to that place in our business where we're just okay with it being like, much like you said at the beginning of this conversation, I don't know how much money I'm making. I mean, sure, we have to be smart. And like, I'm not saying don't look at your books and pay your bills and do all those things. We're not talking about that. We're just saying like where the end goal isn't about how many people am I signing up? How much money did I make? How many, what can I share on Instagram about how successful I am? When we can eradicate that from being the goal and making the goal of, this is what's coming through me right now. I really want to teach this to whomever it is. And I have whoever signs up, and I'm good with it because I trust, to me, that's going to, in the long run, take you a lot farther than all this other stuff, because I've gone down the road with the other stuff and it literally doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
But it doesn't work because you've been there.
Right. Yeah. I've had the
Like you're,
experience.
like we talk about for becoming you, we talk about this, what does it mean to be living this unapologetic life?
Mm.
And what I heard you just say is like, I know this doesn't work. And you only know it doesn't work is because you tried it. And so we always need this contrast of things that are going on for us so that we can learn and grow. I mean, the greatest thing someone could say to me is, oh my God, you've changed so much. Like, look at you. I actually think that's a compliment.
Yes, I agree because
You
again,
know?
we are supposed to change. We're supposed to pivot, because if we are changing, that means we have a new awareness about something and we realize that something needs to change. And I think, that's why as a business owner, for me personally, I am constantly looking at, not constantly, but I am, when I discovered like this whole side of unethical marketing, I'm like, I feel responsible as a business owner who helps new entrepreneurs. I need to go and explore this, because I need to go and see what's going on over here, because I may need to make changes personally. I also want to make sure I'm doing the best for my clients. So yeah. And then that did create a whole new awareness for me. For the whole month of February, I didn't sell anything. I didn't market my business. I actually barely was on social media. There was other things, factors and playing into that too, but I literally just didn't feel I could show up because I needed to do this work. And I didn't freak out like I normally would, be like, oh my gosh, I need to get online. I need to sell something. I need to make some money. Like I just was okay with it. And here, guess what? It's March 20th and I'm still here. I didn't die. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like the more kind of experiences like that we can have, we realize like that it's all going to be okay. We just have to, just know that and trust, I guess, is what I'm getting at. I don't really know. I kind of went on a tangent there,
Well,
but
and how much trust does that take? Because that's a good question, right?
yeah,
How much trust does that take in yourself to know it's going to be okay?
yeah, a lot, and I think that's, there's a whole other piece to that is surrendering to the trust that something is going to, like, you're going to be fine, like everything's going to be fine, and that however it is going to be okay. And yeah, and just learn from that. And yeah, it's just so interesting. And the funny thing is, Shirley, as I've heard from a lot of people this year, it's that the start of 2023 has been a space of people just going through a lot of things. So I don't know if there's something going on in the collective or what, but I
Well, I
feel
also
like,
think what's going on is, and I realized this for me being away, because this was way too long. And I've been talking a little bit about that because people are like, must be glorious. You're living in Mexico. We landed in the wrong environment here. Like last year felt very different. And one of the things I realized is everything was still closed last year. Everything was still shut down. So we got to an environment where everything was open and we were living life fully, and we hadn't been for so long. But what's happening now is everything's starting to reopen, and people are looking at it going, oh my God. So it feels, in my body anyways, it feels like there's an urgency. Like now we've got to like get on with it. So you talk about the collective, and I'm sure collectively, it feels
Mhm.
like there's a crash coming somewhere environmentally in the
Yeah.
world. And we're because things were so quiet, and we started to get reconnected, and like we were saying, everything is connected. This is a
Mhm.
tapestry of life. We're all feeling it, because
Mhm.
we're like, it's like, it for me, it feels like it's like and then I'm like, okay, and now exhale.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of exhaling
Yes.
lately.
Well, yeah, this morning actually I meditated for the first time in a while because I just like I just haven't been like there's just been so much going on, and I was like I need to get back to like center because I feel like I've been all over the damn place. And,
Yeah.
just getting back to some of those basics like you teach in your morning routines and those kinds of things. And I just think I think the online space for sure, from a business standpoint, when the pandemic hit, everybody raced and moved it to online because there was definitely opportunity there for sure. And now I think there's so much going on online that it's actually now we need to kind of almost like there needs to be some pruning or, and I think there will be things that are going to fall out of this moving forward, out of the industry, where, definitely there's a need for some regulations. There's some need for, some things to be brought to light so that people, because here's the thing, consumers are getting smarter. Consumers are getting smarter. Like you said, you did a 4-day event and you felt at the end of the 4 days, like you had feelings of like, this is, there's
No,
some,
and
well, I
right,
was going
and
to say some
everything.
marketing trickery going on here.
Right. Like I was like, I've paid for this, and now I'm getting upsold, and I have no content of what I
Yes,
actually paid for. Like
right.
that's literally like, I'm on to you, mister.
Yes. And so this is what's happening in the space. And that's why I feel like everything is starting to, like there's this big reset that's happening or something. I don't know what the right word is, but and I think it's making people feel a little bit unstable. And that's how I feel for sure. And it's like, and that's why for me, it's like revisiting what's important, revisiting my business, looking at how do I really want to shift things. It's revisiting my perspective on what am I trying to create? Where before, 2 years ago, like the start of the pandemic was like, oh my God, I need to get online. I need to teach people how to do this, and like there was an urgency and a rush feeling to create and be, successful. And now I feel like that's just all sort of shifting. And I don't know,
And
maybe it's just
as
me.
you're talking, well, no, and as you're talking, you're doing like almost like a tornado motion, and I'm
Yeah.
thinking of a pendulum that has gone completely on the other side, and I'm
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
got to go back now,
Yeah. I agree. I think that the pendulum is definitely swinging. But here's the thing, for those who are listening, I think that, or let me just ask you the question, Shirley. For those who are listening and resonating with this, who are feeling maybe that tornado-y sort of like things are changing for me, what would you recommend to them to kind of, bring it home or to get centered?
I would actually recommend getting quiet.
Mm.
Like there's this lot, like in order to hear more, we have to get quiet. Like that just didn't come from anywhere. And I know that there's a lot of external noise everywhere, right?
Mhm.
We live in a culture that's like instant gratification. I want this and I want it now.
Mhm.
And it's everywhere. It's actually ruining our lives
Mhm.
with social media and quick fix diets. And
Mhm.
now there's like, you can download apps that will give you just the summary of a book. You don't even have to read a whole book. You
No,
just
there's
get to get a fucking
AI,
summary.
like we
Right,
AI that
right.
can do
It's
all
a
that
whole
stuff.
other podcast
Yeah.
interview or conversation.
Yeah.
But I think that go back to the basics.
Mhm.
Go to your breath. Go to
Mhm.
your foundation. Shut things off. Get out of social media. Turn things off. Turn off your Netflix, your Prime, your wherever you're watching your things that you're binge watching on, and get really quiet. And
Mhm.
not even like, I mean, yesterday I sat outside on a lounge chair and I read a book for an hour, and I was like, wow, I haven't really done this during the day, in the middle of the day, in a really
Mhm.
long time. Like
Mhm.
when did that stop? Like a book. Like I'm not talking about a screen. I'm talking about an actual book that
Mhm.
I could touch,
Mhm.
and the pages, and and so I really think, and I do this for myself, you know, we've been practicing these tools of life for so long and somehow we forgot them, but it really is that simple. Just
Mhm.
shut down, like just shut down and just sit on the couch.
Mhm. And
Don't
it,
do anything.
everybody's got different lifestyles. So if, even if you're somebody who has to work all day, find that, like, build that time in if you can, even if it has to be after all the kids are in bed and whatever, and you've got, from 9 and 10 to 10 o'clock, where then you can just, go somewhere. Like, one of the best things I ever bought myself on Amazon, um, this is where you can get it, but whether that's the most ethical place to buy it, I don't know. But it's a sleep mask that has like the Bluetooth in the things.
Yeah.
And I play either like white noise, or I have this one, just like this one music thing that I play in it. And I will literally just go into bed and put that over my eyes so that it's dark, and just listen to the music and just be with me. Sometimes I will fall asleep, but sometimes I'm just up there for, half an hour before, Jason comes to bed and whatever. And I'm just still. And it's like, it's just away from, like you say, all the noise, because I do agree that, especially in online entrepreneurship, we feel like we have to be online all the time because that's part of our business. But that's like, it can become a vicious circle of, you becoming addicted to being online, because you're feeling like you're always on there, and you are always on there to try and market yourself and all the things. But we definitely have to, I agree. That's definitely been for me, is reducing the amount of exposure to all of that stuff. So carving out that space, whatever it takes, is kind of what I'm getting at. Because everybody.
Yeah. And the other thing I do, and I actually recommend this, is because you mentioned, like, for everyone who, like, not everyone can get up in the morning, whether it's 5 a.m., 6 a.m., even 7 a.m., and have like an hour to themselves,
Mhm.
there's young kids in the house, there's husbands, there's lunch, like whatever needs to be done. But one of the things that I actually do this every night, is I get into bed at a good hour after I've shut down technology, a few hours before bedtime, and I replay my day back in my head, like starting in the morning, and I come up with 3 to 5 things that I'm grateful for in my day.
That's awesome.
And I fall asleep thinking about those.
Mm.
Because then what I'm doing is I'm bringing my gratitude into my subconscious at night, and it's changed the way I dream.
Mm.
It's changed the way I sleep, and I only know that because I wear an Aura ring that monitors my sleep at night. And so, and I took a break from that a little while ago for almost a month, because I was like, how am I feeling? Oh, I better check my
Yeah.
score on my, like, how did I rate myself?
Yeah.
So I actually did take a little bit of an Aura break too, but one of the things I do love about it is it monitors my sleep. And
Yeah.
so it tells me how much deep sleep I had.
Mm.
But I fall asleep thinking about a few things that I'm grateful for in the day, and I hold that in my dreams.
Yeah.
And somehow it calms my nervous system, because most of us, I think a lot of us have trouble falling asleep, and then they're worrying and they're thinking, oh my God, I forgot to do this. I didn't do this. I didn't, like,
Yeah.
so that's what I do right before sleep. And everyone can do it, because everyone at some point is going to put their head on the pillow and go to bed.
Yeah. Yeah. So just kind of reflection, and also give yourself like some credit for some of the things that you did that maybe were hard, or, give yourself like a pat on the back for getting through things. It's like, it's gratitude, it's celebrating, it's, reviewing the day, and just, being in the moment for those things. I love that, Shirley. This was good. This was a good chat.
This was good.
We didn't know exactly where this was going to go, but I think we landed on some really great topics as we've been maneuvering through this.
Yes, thank you
For
for everything you're doing. I know for me, sometimes I can feel like a little alone, like I'm just out here talking to the interweb, and I'm not really sure, but we're getting our messages through. People are listening. You never know. I mean, I get messages every day, like, I'll do a recording and I'll want to post it, and then my limiting beliefs will come in. I'll be like, well, that was stupid, and I'm not going to share it. And then I've now just shared it. I just share it.
do it anyway.
And when I show up like that, I get messages saying, thank you for that message. I needed to hear it. And it's not like, oh my God, 100 people sent me a message. I don't care.
Yeah.
One person, I touched one person today who said that story I shared made a difference for them. And that's what matters to me,
Yeah.
you know?
So true. And that's what we have to
Yeah.
stay focused on. Cause
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. I agree. I
Thank you.
agree. Thank you. And yeah, so if everybody's listening, Shirley and I will post all the links to anything and everything we've chatted about, because I know you've got some things coming up. And
Of your membership. So anyone listening on my platform that is an online business entrepreneur, whether they're launching a store or product or service, that's who the membership's for, right?
Yes, basically online service providers, coaches, anybody who's looking to build that foundation for their business and get up and running and launched. That's who I support. And what do you have coming up? Or what are you working on right now?
Oh, well, I'm actually working on some in-person stuff is really what I'm being to do right now. So I do have my morning stuff that's ending at the end of April. I probably will relaunch something where I call it Magic Mornings. And we go live at 7:30 every morning for just a half hour to set our day. The funny part is when I launched it, I wasn't really paying attention to time changes.
Oh, shoot.
And Mexico doesn't have time change.
Oh, no.
And so I'm up at 5 a.m. every morning to deliver something for 7:30 Eastern Standard Time.
And what
Which
time?
is just,
oh, that's funny.
I'm 2 hours behind right now. So I launched it and we were like well into it when a girlfriend said to me, time's changing in March. And I said, yeah, I know. And she said, no, but yours doesn't.
Oh, shoot. So you have to get up earlier.
Yeah.
But
so that will happen again once I'm back in Ontario. And I love the mornings so much. It's such a great place. And if you can't join me live, it's yours. You get to keep all of them and you can do them anytime. And then I have in Ontario, like just outside of Kingston. So anyone listening who's in Ontario, there's a live 5-day, 4-night retreat, July 28th till August 1st. It's not the long weekend. And I'm doing an in-person teacher training, which I'm really excited about, called Wisdom. And it's for women, and it's for women 45 plus who are curious about taking a yoga teacher training program. So
nice.
I have evolved my training, and it's really whether you want to teach or you're just looking for practices for longevity and you want to incorporate more spirituality and yoga into your life. This is for the women 45 plus, and it'll be in Collingwood, Ontario. That starts at the end of May. So that's what's happening.
Well, whatever you have links ready to go for, we will make sure that they get into the show notes. But Shirley, it has been so fun chatting with you. And when are you coming home from Mexico?
We will be home early May, and then we will have to definitely make some plans with you guys. I know we keep talking about that, but definitely it's happening.
You need to come up to Collingwood for sure. I love it. Well, thank you so much for being here for my audience. And I'm super happy to be here for your audience. And it's been so lovely chatting with you.
And I love how efficient this is. I might do every episode.
Right? Well, this makes sense then to record conversations because, I mean, they probably end up being different for sure, but it just makes it so much easier. Awesome. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Speak to you soon.
Hey, everyone. Hey. Okay, so Shirley and I are here today. This is one of my really good friends, former client, just amazing overall person. And I'm super excited to have this conversation with Shirley today. But what we're doing, just to explain to everyone who's listening, is we're being really smart with our time. And we both have podcasts. I have the How It's Really Going with Shana Recker podcast. And Shirley, what's your podcast?
Becoming You.
And so we are having a conversation today, and we're sharing this conversation on both of our podcasts. So to the How It's Really Going listeners and to the Becoming You listeners, hello from me, Shana, and take it away, Shirley.
And hello for me. Shana you were my first business coach. You literally was the first person that I hired to build my website, coach me. I joined your first ever group coaching. What was it called?
Well, there was the Dream Hustle Academy.